conceptual perspective of things. People talk about a desire to be successful. All of the elements they think. Intelligence.
Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. I am immensely excited about a new program we just launched. We're literally kicking it off today. We kicked it off a few moments ago, probably about an hour ago. We kicked it off. This is the second time that I'm actually personally announcing it. The other was on a video that's over a number of different channels. I wanted to prelude what I'm going to share with you today so that you can be aware of it, because I want the people who are on these particular platforms that see me on a consistent basis and know what I have to offer, but may not be able to take advantage of my flagship programs, to be able to have access to me at some level. That's something I've been working on for quite some time, and it's just now coming into play. It's just now being developed. And the first person that shows up that I can literally see show up is one of my clients. Hey, and how are you, Kim? Good morning. Maybe you know a friend that may be able to take advantage of this. You're in on the high end, but there's something that you're going to get to benefit from this too, and I'll explain it to you as I move forward, or we'll talk about it next time we talk. But I'm excited about this. We have a new consulting and coaching subscription program, and what this is a way for people to pay a monthly fee to have access. Now, this isn't the same as the coaching packages that I offer, which range from 12 weeks to 52 weeks, where the client has a minimum of a weekly session and has crisis access on an ongoing basis. But it is a way to have access to me once a month, a full session, which in and of itself pays for the subscription. The subscription is only $100 a month, meaning that you can get access each month for $100. You're going to get one guaranteed session, one crisis session, which is also a part of it. You don't pay anything extra. Something's going on, you're feeling a little overwhelmed, you're going through something, you need an intervention of some type, go ahead and contact me directly. I'm going to be handling this and managing this directly. The support team will play a role, but I'm going to be in from the moment that you subscribe. I'm going to be actually the person contacting you, at least for now. Now, if this thing actually blows up bigger than I'm anticipating, then obviously I'll have to bring the support team to handle the volume. But until that happens, I'm going to be at the helm, because I want this to be as much of a personal experience as possible. So you're going to start out, you're going to get one session per month. We decide when and where together. That's going to be beneficial. We're going to also have one crisis session, but we're not done. You're going to also be invited into a private group where everybody else is pursuing a better life, whether it's a better marriage, a better career opportunity, starting a business, tackling finances, whatever the goal is. There's not going to be any limitations on what we talk about doing, because there are no limitations on the possibilities. And that's what we're going to focus on. But what makes this different than just listening to me every day on a video, which can be beneficial, that's why I do them, is that the interventions that we have, the encounters that we have, will be personalized. They will be measured for the things that you're trying to do in your life, and it's going to be specifically set up for you. So for $100 ongoing subscription, $100 per month, you're going to have a 300. My independent individual sessions are $350 a month. My bronze package, which my least expensive coaching package, is 12 weeks, and it's $2,540. My platinum package, and Kim, I hope I'm not putting too much of your business out there, but if you've already told them you had the platinum package before, so all I have to do is go to the site and see how much it costs. But my platinum package, which Kim has, is $10,500. That's 52 sessions. But Kim can testify on her own as to whether she feels she's gotten value from what she's invested in herself. But That's what I charge. But this is going to give you access for $100 a month. So just the session alone pays for the subscription 3 times over. But then you're going to get a crisis session. Then you're going to get access to the group where you're going to have ongoing support. That's not all. You're going to get a free copy of Critical Mass, my 20th book, the first book in a 6-book series, precedes I Am, and also access to a ton of written and recorded material, video and audio, as well as written material that will align with the things that you're trying to do, handpicked for you and given to you so that you can study it, that you can familiarize yourself with it, and that you can set out. Also, we're going to create a personalized plan for you over the next 12 months because we're asking for 12 months commitment. But at any time you decide after the first month that you don't want to, you can cancel your subscription, and no questions asked. But as long as you go, we're going to provide you with the ongoing support. I've been wanting to do this so bad. I've been wanting to find a way with work with people. What I had to do is understand the importance of my time. And my time, one of the most influential elements that determine the cost of my packages is how much is of my time am I giving, and I have to accommodate that. And so this is something that I've been looking for, a way to be around people. Normally the way you do that for people who can't afford to pay what you are worth in one area is you create a group environment where you go speak to them publicly in a group. That's great, and I do that, but here's the problem. When I'm speaking in a group, I cannot possibly at any time sit up and address the specific needs and desires and concerns of an individual. Not every individual in there. So then that still leaves some things that this is going to be me and you talking about me and you. Well, me and you talking about you and how you want to do things and where you want to be a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, and so forth, and setting up a plan, but getting our minds wrapped around what it takes to become the person that can do the thing you desire to do. That's what it's all about. You don't get what you want, you get who you are. And we're going to talk about how to become. So I'm excited about that. Maybe you know somebody who wants to get in on the entry level and maybe at some point work their way up. But for all the people who have been telling me, as soon as I'm able to, I'm going to come back and I'm going to get package number blah blah. Here's a chance to get in now, and then when you are ready, you can graduate to an ongoing week-to-week encounter with yours truly. But right now, this once a month thing with a specific impact is going to be powerful. Again, the encounter alone pays for itself 3 times over, because that's, as on an individual session, you can go to the site and see all the prices and my pricing and what I charge. My Power and Paradigms course is an $899 course. That's probably the top selling independent course, meaning that somebody doesn't have to work with me to do it. It's a self-paced course. That's my top selling self-paced course, and it's $899. What we're going to do is we're going to get together and we're going to do this on a one-on-one basis, and we're going to make it work. So for that, the link is in there. Matter of fact, when you go and you look under additional resources, it's the first thing there, because I really want to get that out, because this is something that almost everybody can do. I guarantee you, for the most part, if you're here, you're watching this and you're striving for something, there's something you're spending that money on that you can spend on yourself, at least for 1 month to try it out. My thing is, I'm asking you to commit for 12 months because you're going to be able to see the results over time. But just 1 month to see what happens. Again, if you think, or you need advice or you need somebody's input, I have a client that's sitting right on here that I've been working with for a while. She can tell you, you can sit up and ask her questions. She's on here almost every day. So not only does she get the sessions that she gets because she's a platinum customer, she also comes in and grabs everything, and she gets everything that she possibly can out of this. And I can tell you the growth that she's experienced. Matter of fact, yesterday I was on, it's kind of funny because you were here. You weren't here when I talked about this, not live. You weren't here. I'm pretty sure you probably dropped in later, Kim. But I was telling them how we had a session going on Monday, and you literally picked up my book and started reading my book to me based off of the context of the conversation, which means you had to know where it was, and you literally went to it and read it And I told him how humbling that was for me to have somebody that invested in themselves, and my product and my work was actually contributing to their growth. It's what I live for. It's my passion. It has been my goal. It has not always been easy. That's the whole thing. You're going to be working with someone who has walked this stuff out, lived it. I've lived the pitfalls, the mistakes, the setbacks, but I've also lived the victories and the triumphs and overcoming. And I can tell you what it takes to get there. I can tell you what it takes to be consistent, and how to manage the bad times as well as the good times. Because I'm not going to be one of those that's going to tell you that it's going to be 365 days of nothing but bliss once you get this going. That's not how life works. But if you're ready for it, if you're prepared for it, if you've got the intensity to stand on it, you're going to do unbelievable, extraordinary things. So there's some other resources in there that are always there. But this is your chance. If you've got a loved one that you want to get in on the game, this is a chance to get them in on the game. Even if you just do the first month and tell them they're going to have to pick it up from there, you can make it known to us, and we will do the recurring billing for the subscription to whoever you want it billed to. But you will have to supply their information and their billing information for that to happen. But whatever, we're going to make this work. So I'm excited about that. This is a chance. Go subscribe. Click the link. Go there. Check out the video, which is pretty much telling you what I'm telling you now. Subscribe. Get set up. Get brought into the group. The group right now is here. You get brought into the group. It's a private group called the War Room. It started with some clients from way back. Some of them are still in there, and they'll probably wake up once we start using it again, because after a while I stopped using it because I stopped doing subscriptions, and I'm back now. I'm finding that this is probably going to be the best way for me to reach the most people and still respect my time and give a quality product. That's big to me, to be able to deliver a quality product that you're literally getting something out of it that exceeds what you're putting into it. That's my goal, always to give more value than what I take. So in that, check it out. Now I want to get to why I'm here. There is something that I've learned in life, that change is inevitable. People resist change. People buck it. People fear it. People go all different types of directions and in an attempt to avoid change, because change is uncomfortable. Why? Because it takes you out of what you're familiar with and it pushes you into the unknown. And that's a part of growth, though. You cannot grow if you remain in what you're familiar with. In order to grow, you have to take on that which you're not familiar with and master it before you can move on to the next step. But you cannot sit still. A lot of people right now are talking about how stuck they are in their lives. You're not stuck. Let me tell you what the truth is. You're not stuck. You're stagnant. There's a difference. Stuck means there's no way out, that you're literally locked into it, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. You're stuck. No, you're stagnant. You're stagnant because you won't engage opportunities to change. You're resisting change with every ounce of your being, and it's leading to the results of a lack of growth. Change is the precursor to growth. You've got to want to change before you can grow. The beautiful thing about it is that when you take the helm, when you take the reins of your life and you decide that I'm going to do something with my life and I'm going to change for the better, now you're in control of the change. And there are two ways that you're going to inevitably experience change. Most people, 75% or more, at least 75%, I would venture I'd say maybe even 85% of the people are only going to change when life forces them to. They experience some tragedy. They get some diagnosis from the doctor that tells them that if they don't change their life, that it's going to end quickly. Some epiphany through some enormous event that totally gives them a new view on life. But most of them wait for that to happen. So there are two ways to experience change. You can experience change through pain and suffering, which is being pushed on you and forcing you to change, or you can choose to experience it through joy and inspiration. You can literally choose to say, you know what, I'm going to wake up every day and I'm going to be better. And I'm going to be better because I'm going to evolve, change in a direction that I intend to go. I'm not going to wait on life to push me. I'm going to take the helm and the reins of my personal sovereignty, and I'm going to choose to wake up every day and do something different. That is what you do if you want to experience change in the most positive way possible. Now, again, you're going to experience change. And the thing is, when pain and suffering comes, you can experience the change and still not grow from it because you're resisting it instead of taking it in. My grandfather told me something, and I thank him for it. He taught me so many lessons, but this is the lesson he taught me that absolutely knocks it out the box. As a matter of fact, he told me this. He said, I've taught you a lot, but if you can get what I'm telling you today, you will not have to pursue greatness, son. It will overtake you. And what he told me was, and you've probably heard me say this before if you follow me, he said, son, you're going to be in one of three places in this life. You're going to be either going into a storm, in a storm, or coming out of a storm. It's that simple. He says, don't get caught up in pointing the finger and blaming who put you in there. 90% of the time, it was you, some decision you made, some person you allowed in your life, just being crazy, being dumb, being stupid. He says, that's not the focus. The focus is, what are you going to do in the storm? How are you going to respond to the storm? Your only responsibility, son, as a man, when you go into the storm is to come out a better man than when you went in. So even in the challenges, I've learned that there's something that can shape me, that can mold me, that can strengthen me, that can bring a sense of enlightenment and empowerment in my life, even in the darkest moments. So I see them differently than most people see them. I see when I'm being pushed in a corner, in a direction, when things aren't going my way. I still see how it's building me, how it's growing me, how I'm evolving, what I'm becoming. But what you got to do is you got to understand, in order to change purposefully, you got to do some things differently. So let me tell you what happens. The average person wakes up in the morning, and before they ever do anything, they start to think about their problems. And what are they thinking? And where is this thinking coming from? It's coming from their memories. They're literally recalling the problems. The problems are simply memories of past experiences. And so they wake up and they are recalling. And here's the thing, each memory comes with an associated emotion. And you have to understand, what are our emotions? They are the feelings that come with, feelings in the state of being that come with memories. So each memory has an emotion, which is simply the end product of past experiences. See, people talk about trauma all the time. Well, there's this thing in trauma called traumatic memory. Traumatic memory is not simply the recollection of what happened. It is literally the re-experiencing of what happened. In other words, when you talk to people who've experienced trauma and have been diagnosed with what most people call post-traumatic stress disorder, but there's also another form and more intense and complex element of trauma, which is complex trauma. Post-traumatic stress disorder normally comes from as little as one event happening, one traumatic event happening, and it having an impact, and the person is not only experienced the event, they become traumatized by it. Complex trauma is a traumatic reality or a traumatic diagnosis of being traumatized by multiple events. They can be the same over and over again, like a child being molested, or it could be a person who lost a parent, then had a car accident, lost a limb, and on down the line, where you've got these different traumatic experiences that leave scars that cause things. And so what happens when you go off into this event, in remembering it, you're not just recalling it, you're reliving it, re-experiencing it, the same smell, the same emotion. And that's what happens. The same thing happens when you wake up in the morning and you're recalling your problems. First thing in the morning, what are you doing? You're bringing back the emotions associated with it. And each emotion has a corresponding chemical balance or a chemical representation. So there's a way you feel when you feel sad. There's a chemical combination or a chemical reality created in the body and in the brain that's represented, that represents that emotion. There's a chemical makeup for anger, chemical makeup for sadness and depression, chemical makeup for happiness and joy. There's a chemical makeup for it. So what happens is when you wake up every day and the first thing you do is you recall the problems you have in your life, the bad things, short term and long term. You also conjure up the emotion that sets the chemical. And so what happens is after a while, just like so what happens is when you're sitting up and you do that consistently for any time, like anything else you do, it becomes a habit. It's an addiction now. You literally have an addiction to that chemical makeup that you have inside, you know, from what the memories you've been having. Let me see if I can simplify it for you. Okay, you wake up every morning, you're thinking about a problem that's got you frustrated, you got you anxious. There's a chemical makeup for that. That's going to create a specific feeling in your body and your brain and impact your thinking. And eventually, if you do that enough on a daily basis, your body will get used to it and actually demand it. And in demanding it, it will force the brain to go out and find reasons to feel that way in order to experience that feeling. That's why you find people who are literally addicted to anger. They'll find anything to go off about because they gotta find that chemical makeup that comes with anger. You got people who will literally sit up and you, no matter what you do, you can't keep them happy. You can't keep them excited and because they have decided over time that they need to be sad. And they literally become addicted to it from a physiological perspective. They literally have to have it. The body is demanding it. Now, what you have to understand is your brain can play two roles primarily. And how you choose to set that up is going to determine how all of this works out. If you want to change, you can't wake up doing the same thing you've been doing. You can't change that way. And the best time for change is when you're going to bed at night and when you're waking up in the morning. That's when you're most subjected to new suggestions and new ideas and to set behaviors. So when I wake up in the morning, that's when I have least influence of the outside world, so I can set a pattern of behavior and thoughts that will not be interrupted by the normal talk of the day. Trying to do meditation or positive spiritual engagement or anything that's going to reprogram your mind in the middle of the day is virtually useless. It's powerless. I'm not saying you can't be done, but you got to be well trained to disconnect from the world and everything that's going on. When your phone's going 100 miles an hour, you got somebody walking into your office every 10 seconds, all this stuff like that. In the morning, it's just you. You wake up in the morning and you decide you're going to do something. Now, the brain operates in one or two ways. It's either going to be a record of the past. It's going to be a keeper of past records. It's going to be what your memories are. When you decide to stop consulting the past for future possibilities, you can convert your mind to the map of the future. You can convert your brain and your mind to the map of the future. But most people are consulting past memories to determine future possibilities. And so what happens is the more that you wake up and you got problems, the more you start to look for problems, the more you start to create problems, the more you wake up and actually, reason people have anxiety. The reason so many people are suffering from anxiety is because people have been trained to see the worst possible outcome in any given situation instead of look for the best outcome. We live in a world where there are infinite possibilities for your life in any particular situation, but we've been trained to find the worst, to think of the worst. How is my business going to fail? How is my marriage going to fail? How am I going to, how long is it going to be before I can't pay this car note? How long is it going to be before I can't meet this situation? How am I ever going to get out of this debt? All of these different things, and you're looking at the worst case scenario. Man, they're going to come do this. They're going to come do that. Man, I'm going to lose the house. Man, I'm going to lose the car. Man, I'm going to lose my husband. I'm going to lose my wife. All this stuff. And now imagine all of that going in your head and the worst possible outcomes for each one of what you're focusing on. You haven't even thought about the positive ones because you've been trained to wake up every morning and think of everything that's wrong. So you're now going out finding all these possibilities that weren't even on the table before you created them. But now that you created them, you got to learn how to manage them because they are creating an established reality in your body chemistry that is literally creating an addiction that's going to demand that you find other negative stuff to support the habit. You're going to literally have to change your behavior. And this calls for you not consulting your circumstance. Okay, you got some bills that are due. They're there. You know they're there. Okay, put them to the side. You got some ongoing issues with the spouse. Okay, you know they're there. Put them to the side. I'm not talking about an act of denial. I'm talking about acknowledgement and then putting them to the side to take on the reality of the possibility that anything can be fixed, anything can be changed, anything can be rectified. You're going to rise up and determine in yourself that you are going to do what is necessary to achieve what it is you desire in life, and you will not be stopped. Now, here's the beauty of it. Every time that you wake up in the morning and you start to call things that are not, people are going to tell you crazy. You know, when you sit up and say, I'm abundant and I'm wealthy, and there's no money in your bank account, and you got bill collectors calling, but you're waking up every morning and you're saying, I'm abundant and I'm wealthy. All of my financial issues are resolved. And you're sitting and you go like, okay, why do I have to speak it in the present tense? Because the brain and the mind cannot distinguish the difference between what is actually in a state of three-dimensional reality and what is being imagined. When you sit up and you consistently tell the brain something, it starts to say, hey, I've done this. You know, you can sit up and say, I'm wealthy. The brain is saying, we've already created wealth. So now it's looking for ways to sustain wealth, ways to build wealth. It's not looking for what broke people look for, what people who are behind look for. You got to change your thinking. You call things that are not as though they were, not because you're crazy, not because it's some type of positive moolah in the air. It's programming the brain. See, the brain is running on the program. Now, the thing is, from the time you're born to about age 5, 6, or 7, you're in a state of what's known as theta. Theta is the downloading of environmental information for the sake of being able to navigate this world. So you're learning what to do, what not to do, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. You're getting your norms and your standards together that create your conscious, that will let you do certain things and not let you do certain things. All of this is going to be environmentally influenced. But after about 7, you start to move out of constant states of theta and move into other areas of consciousness where you're starting to lock in. And by the time you're 35, your program is pretty much set. You're probably running about 96 to 97% of your entire life is on a program that you've created from the time you were born until the time you turn 35. And it becomes extremely difficult after that to reprogram it, but it's possible. How do you do it? Number one is you got to find theta again. Theta is best found after you get past the age of 7. Theta is best found right before you fall asleep. The point in between your consciousness of where you're aware of what's going on and before you get into full sleep, there's a level of where you are still aware. You can hear stuff going on around you, but you're dozing off. That's when the mind, the analytical mind, is least likely to override what's being said on what you're hearing or what you're speaking. And since you're falling asleep, you can't trust yourself to speak it. So you create tapes or digital recordings that you can put your earphones on, you listen to them, you fall asleep. When you wake up and your earphones are still in, take them off, throw them on the floor, keep moving. But that's the best time because you're in a state of theta. You can't resist it because the analytical mind and the conscious mind are drifting off. And now the only thing there's a subconscious mind that doesn't have a guardian at the gate any longer, your conscious and analytical mind, to override something. Say, you're not wealthy. You ain't got no money in the bank. You don't have the communication skills to fix your marriage. You don't, blah, blah, blah. But that won't be there. All you're going to be doing is feeding a new program that after a certain amount of time is going to start to be empowered because it's going to be the predominance of what's heard. Now, during the conscious parts of your day where you're actually aware, you're going to resist anything that moves against or speaks against what you are establishing in your sessions in the state of theta. If something comes along, you're going to resist saying, I'm broke. You're going to resist saying my marriage is failing. You're going to resist saying I'm stuck at this job. All the things, whatever it is you're working on, you're going to resist saying it, not because you're in a state of denial, but because you're seeing beyond the moment. You're not talking about where you're at for this moment. You're talking about where you're going. It's not about what you're going through, it's where you're going to. And most people get caught up in what they're going through, and they let what they're going through define them. They literally take on an identity of suffering. I tell people all the time, pain is inevitable. You're not going to skip past pain. You're going to go through some things, but suffering is inevitable. Suffering is identifying with what's causing your pain so much that it becomes a permanent part of your life and identity. That's something you can't do. So you sit up and say, yeah, I know that this is my bank account, this is my banking situation, my financial situation. I know it is, but that's not what I'm claiming. I'm looking at where I'm going. Because no matter where I'm at, I know where I'm going. I can get there if I make an intentful move to get there. If I execute self-discipline, and if I have the right mindset. So I have to evolve in my thinking. I have to evolve in my behavior. I have to evolve in my expectations. I can't expect the negative and get the positive. It doesn't work that way. God, life, the universe meets us at the level of our expectations. So what does that mean? That means that I have to be aware constantly of what I'm thinking, even on a subconscious level. When these little thoughts pop up, I can't let them take root if they don't align with what I'm establishing about myself. Because why? I'm reprogramming. I'm downloading a new program, because the program you run in your subconscious is going to control 96 to 97% of your behavior, your decision making, and your actions. And it's going to be what determines how your life ends up. You're not going to avoid every bad situation no matter what you do. You're not going to have times where you're going to make every right decision. Life just isn't like that. Nobody's perfect. But what you can do is create an environment that even when you make a piss poor decision, you got the programming already uploaded of how you overcome your own poor decisions, or how you overcome getting somebody else involved that puts you in a bad situation. Whatever it is, you can overcome it. But you've got to understand that you can't have a negative mindset. You can't be thinking negative. You can't have your automatic on. Let me tell you something. Why people can't change for the better. They wake up every morning, same time. They get out of bed with the same motions. They do the same routine, brush their teeth, use the restroom, take a shower, get dressed. They travel to work the same freaking way, go work with the same people every day that knows exactly what emotional buttons to push. You're getting your emotional buttons pushed the same time. Every day, almost at the same time, because people are people of habit and pattern. So if you got a person that kind of says stupid stuff, they probably say it around the same time every day, because that's when their mind goes to wander off into stupidity. Some people that talk negative, their mind wanders off into negativity around the same time every day, because they're living off of a pattern, and they are now in pushing their ideas and thoughts and energy off on you in a pattern-like way. So now you are literally in a pattern of confusion, frustration, disappointment, negativity, and you're doing it every day. You've got to change. Start with things that are easy to change. When I get up in the morning, before I get out of bed, I'm going to set a mindset of gratitude. I'm going to set a mindset of positivity. I'm going to set a mindset of positive expectations for my day. I am going to remind myself that even when things pop up that I don't like, I'm built for it. I'm prepared for it. I'm set up for it. I've got it. I don't have to know the answers right away, because I'm directly connected to the Most High and the mind of God, which knows all. So what I don't know, the mind of God will communicate to me in the right time. The answers will show up. I will not become frenetic and unglued. I will not lose my composure. I will not become upset. I will not be shaken, because I know that no matter what I'm facing at any given moment, I'm going to overcome it. And I'm not going to be shaken by delay. Why do I say that? Because some of the biggest things you got to overcome that's going to produce some of the most astronomical rewards are gonna be guarded by delay. You're gonna have to get through some delays, some setbacks, some like, man, I thought I would be here by now. Man, I thought I would have done it by. What you cannot do is be shaken by delay. Be shaken by a current moment that is simply momentary, and you've got to push through it. So many people allow delay to shut them down. That's why I teach consistently that delay does not mean denial. That's what I want you to understand, that's the moment you buckle down. That's the moment that you sit up and you decide that you are going to do some exceptional and extraordinary things in your life. That's when you are going to make up in your mind that this is not the end of the story, and that you're going to stick with it, that you're going to put. It's all about the distance that you're willing to go. You can't have a point at which you say, well, if it gets this bad, I'm quitting. Because guess what? It's going to get that bad. But when you make up in your mind that no matter what happens, I'm not giving up, I'm not quitting, I'm not falling back, you will be amazed at some of the things that can take place. So I just wanted to bring that to you. You've got to be in control. You've got to be prepared for change. You want to be in control of how things change, and you have an option. You can either experience change through pain and suffering, or you can experience it through joy and inspiration and elation. You can literally sit up and say, I'm changing my life for the better, and go for it. I'm not telling you it's easy. I'm telling you it's challenging. I'm telling you that you're going to have some days you wake up and you're going, what am I doing and why am I doing it? Is it working? But you got to keep pushing because you're planting seeds. You're uploading a program that's going to go to work for you. And this program is going to be what causes the most powerful supercomputer in the world, your brain, your mind, to sit up and start working and producing the results you wanted to produce. You're going to get out of negative thought. You're going to get out of negative behavior. You're going to get rid of negative rituals and habits, and you're going to adopt the things even when they don't make sense to you. You're going to say them even when they don't align up with a momentary experience. You're going to speak them. You're going to have your self-talk aligning with your future destination, and that's how you're going to accomplish it. On that note, that's it. I'm gonna get ready to get out of here. As I stated, for those of you who just get coming on, we're excited. We just launched earlier this morning before I came on, about an hour before I came on, we launched our newest program, which I'm excited about. I've been looking for more than a year of a way to work with people who cannot afford my flagship programs. And we have created a subscription program. The link is in there. You go check it out. I've explained it. If you need to go back and look at it in the first part of this, I explain how it works. It more than pays for itself in so many different ways. You're going to have group access. You're going to have once a month access to me to work on your personal plan. We are asking for a 1-year commitment, but you can stop at any time you want to. Each month is going to be a $100 subscription, but the session alone is a $350 session. So it pays for itself 3 times over just in the session, but you're going to get the book. You're going to get access to me. You're going to get another access of a critical crisis session each month. And the crisis session is something really bad is happening and you're not scheduled to talk to me until next month. But you've got to have somebody kind of give some context to what you're dealing with, or provide a level of advice, or to slow things down for you, or to give you an advice on the decision you're about to make, whatever. And you can reach out and say, hey, I got to talk to you now. And you got that crisis session in your pocket at no additional charge. You're going to get free membership to the War Room, which is where we have gathered for years. We've kind of slowed down over the last couple of years, but there's still a few members in there. We're cranking it back up for the purpose of this subscription. Anybody who subscribes will get invited to the War Room, which is a Facebook page. So hopefully, you know, some of the people that are on Facebook are gonna have to come over and join it, because that's where we're gonna get out. I'm gonna come to you on a regular basis. I'm gonna share some things personally. That's gonna be some every day. There's gonna be content shared in there. That's only gonna be in there. And the only place you can get it in there is going to be based off of what we've talked about, based off of what we're trying to accomplish. And so you're going to have all access to all of this information as well. It's a way for those who can't afford my bronze, silver, gold, and platinum packages. I have a platinum package member on here for those who weren't here when I introduced her the first time, but Kim Robinson is on. Hopefully she's still on, because I'm pretty sure she's in her office, but she's still on, and she can share with you what it's like to be a platinum member, you know, and so you can get an idea of the type of value you're getting with what we're offering here. But I am encouraging you, especially those of you who have already had, you know, an encounter with me and said, as soon as you're able to, you're going to come back and you're going to sign up. Here's a chance to get involved, get engaged, get something going, get committed to something. And then when you are in a position to do something more, you can come on board and sign up for the more intense encounters and more frequent encounters and everything that entails. But this is a way for me to work with people who would not normally be able to work with me. I'm encouraging you to go out there. You would be surprised at what you can do to come up with that amount. I believe that's an amount for most people that if they're serious about changing their lives, they can do. Now, you know, I don't know what to tell you if you don't see that worth. I mean, you don't see it worth spending that amount. I think I've done a great job with everything that I'm offering for that. So I'm encouraging you, take it and give it to your friends, or do a gifting. I'm gonna pay your first month, but you're gonna have to pay the rest. But I'm gonna pay that first month, so you can go out there and whatever and gift it. You know, do it that way. Whatever it is, we can make it happen. But the link is there. You go to the site. The first subscription you do on the site, and then every month on the same day you're going to be invoiced for that month subscription, and you just keep going. You keep having access, you keep taking advantage of it, you keep growing, and whatever it evolves into for you is what we'll take it as. If you decide to work with me, or if that's good enough for you after a year, or you want to re-up for another year, however you want to do it, that's going to be up to you. But we want to get it started. So there it is right there in front of you. I'm about to get off of here. Got a lot of stuff to do today. Thank you for spending some time with me. I'm pretty sure I'm going to drop back in and talk to you about some more stuff today. This is one of those days. So on that note, I'm out of here. As I always say, I'm going to live my life on full. What that means for me is I'm going to actualize and optimize my potential each and every day. I'm going to live it on full. Why? So when I leave this place, I die on E. I don't want to take any of my potential to the grave with me. I don't want to take any potential out of this life that could have been used to make somebody else's life better. That's what I'm going to challenge you to do. Be your best every day. Fill your space every day. Do something that is going to be so impactful that it speaks of you long after you leave this world. On that note, I'm out. You guys have an awesome day.
I'm out.
Here I come, ready or not. Frank Ocean made this record hot.
From a conceptual
Sounded better than Jay.
perspective, people talk
Real
about
talk,
it as
I ain't throwing
abusive.
shots. Careful who you